Hey everyone, and welcome! Today, we are time traveling back to the roaring 20s. And let me tell you, we're not just talking about some old clothes. Nope, we are talking about a full-blown cultural explosion, a rebellion that you could literally wear. This is the story of the flapper. So that brings us to this one huge question. How on earth did a simple haircut and a new style of dress end up changing the entire world? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly that. We're going to see how this fashion moment completely rewrote the rules for women and really for everyone. But first, to really get the flapper, you have to understand the world she was kicking back against. The stage was absolutely perfectly set for a revolution. So, I want you to picture the world right before the 20s. Think Victorian and Edwardian times. I mean, women were being physically squeezed into these super restrictive corsets. Their skirts were long, heavy, and dragging on the dirty ground. And the social rules? So strict. A nice young woman wouldn't even dream of going out without a chaperone. It was all about being formal and, let's be honest, kind of repressed. And then everything changed. A few huge events created this perfect storm. First, World War I ends in 1918. And it just shatters all the old ways of thinking. Then, in 1920, American women get the right to vote, a massive step. All of this is happening while the incredible high-energy sound of jazz is taking over the cities. You can feel it, right? The old world was just coming apart at the seams, making room for something totally new. And stepping right into this brand new world is our main character, the flapper. She was the walking, talking, dancing symbol of this new, modern spirit. And wow, was she a rejection of the past. Just look at this side by side. Every single choice the flapper made was basically a giant no to her mother's generation. All that long, fussy hair, chopped it right off. That tiny, painful waist, gone. They literally threw out their corsets. Skirts that swept the floor, hiked up to the knee. This wasn't just a makeover, it was a declaration of war on the old rules. And you gotta remember, flapper wasn't just about what you wore. It was a whole attitude, a philosophy. The name itself kind of sounds like a young bird flapping its wings, trying to fly, right? And that's exactly what it was. It was about showing everyone that you just didn't care about their stuffy, old-fashioned ideas of acceptable behavior. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How was this uniform of rebellion actually put together? Let's break down that iconic flapper look, piece by piece. So these were the key elements of her arsenal. You've got the cloche hat, that bell-shaped hat that kind of forced you to have short hair. You've got the bob haircut itself, the drop-waist dress, the shorter hemline, and, of course, the rolled stockings. Every single piece was a part of this new statement. It really did start at the top, with the bob haircut. I mean, cutting your hair was a huge, huge deal. For centuries, long hair was the symbol of being a woman. So chopping it all off? People saw that as totally radical. A shocking act of independence. But you know what? It was also super practical for a modern woman on the go. And then there was the dress. The drop-waist dress was basically the anti-corset. Instead of squeezing and shaping the body, it just hung loosely from the shoulders. It created this straight, kind of boyish figure. This was not a dress made for sitting quietly. Oh no, this dress was designed for one thing, movement. It was made for dancing the Charleston all night long. But here's the thing, and this is so important to understand. It was never just about the clothes. The fashion was just the ticket, the entry pass to a whole new way of life, a liberated life. Think about it. Flappers started driving cars, which gave them this insane new freedom. They started smoking cigarettes and drinking cocktails right out in public, things that were totally scandalous and considered for men only just a few years before. And of course, they flooded into jazz clubs to dance with an energy and a freedom that absolutely terrified their parents. So what happened to this revolution? Where did it all go? Well, while the cloche hats and drop-waist dresses eventually faded out, the impact? Oh, that impact did not go anywhere. The flapper left behind this echo that, believe it or not, still shapes our world right now. And you know, people back then totally got it. They knew something huge was happening. As one writer put it at the time, the flapper wasn't just some silly girl. She was independent, pleasure-seeking, and defiant, a direct result of the war and all the massive changes happening in the world. They saw she was a new force to be reckoned with. And that's really her legacy, isn't it? The flapper's rebellion, both in how she dressed and how she acted, just smashed so many barriers. She made it okay for women to be independent, to take up space in public, and to wear clothes that were about freedom and expression, not restriction. She basically threw the door wide open for all the generations of women who came after her to decide for themselves who they wanted to be. So this all kind of brings us to a really interesting question for our own time. The flapper used her bobbed hair and short skirt as her statement. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? What are our forms of rebellion today? What are we trying to say with the clothes we choose to wear right now?